Hello, hello. We should be live. Everybody wave and say goodbye. See ya.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Ta-da.
Welcome to the channel. We play D&D all the time. Stupid camera. Do something. That weird thing that you do. I hate this thing. I hate streaming. It's so bad.
I think we've all got issues with our cameras.
Marine.
No, the thing you told me to do worked,
just
and mine
moved,
no
mate.
longer fades. Not for him,
So-
he hasn't.
D&D.
Oh, yeah.
Roll the dice. We're going to tell some stories. Stuff. Tonight is session 31 of our campaign When Glory Is Not Enough. And various other things are clearly not enough for this lot. We're going to go through the social medias first. So if you wish to follow us and find out when we're going live, what we're writing about, where we're attending, what we're doing and all that good stuff, you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook and Discord and YouTube. These are all social media platforms. Did I say Instagram? Facebook? Twitter? We're on Twitter, or you can follow Linktree and it'll take you to everywhere we go. If you want to add another Discord server to your 132 Discord servers that you already have, feel free to do so, and we will talk nerdy stuff to you and random other stuff. Gloria! If you want to go and waste 6 months of your life staring at a YouTube video of my face putting on the same accent but in different pitch against a bunch of nerdy players living out the best story their lives have ever experienced, go to YouTube. If you don't want to stare at my lovely face, we're on Spotify, and you'll get the same sultry angelic tones that you hear right now, telling you a story with people throwing dice at their screens. So that's all the good stuff in social media. We've got loads of sponsors because we're super famous, international, professional voice actors, sort of D&D show, don't you know? And we're sponsored by Serenscape, who are incredible providers of sound sets and ambience for your games. Greatest Yorkshire. Cheers, Sparky.
Yorkshire.
We're sponsored by Serenscape. They're brilliant at what they do. Please check them out. If you want sound ambience to your games, whether you're sat around the table playing it out of a digital device with access to the internet and a browser, or you play online like we do and you can share the link to said browser, you get really, really cool music like Dragonfire and Ritual and lightning bolts going off and sugar dates and pistachios. Really, really cool at what they do. If you want that accompanied with a map, yeah, the perfect Dragonfire, the Lava Lake map, and the miniatures from Sparky & Co. Woo! See what I did there? Yeah? You put them all together, and you kill the dragon. Well, good luck trying. Loki Battle Mats. They make maps, flip out books, they do Kickstarters. Every one of them is super successful because they're brilliant at what they do. If you want maps, go get them. If you want sound, go to Serenscape. If you want beautiful miniatures, and I mean, some of them are just ridiculous, go to Etsy, look for Sparky & Co. and check out the miniatures. If you love chibi artwork, I am a little bit obsessed, go to the Roll20 marketplace, type in Coyote Grey and look at all the chibi tokens that he's put together and put up there. I bought all of them because they're amazing. I love them. I use them for all my games. Yeah, they're amazing. I love them. I'm waiting for chibi miniatures coming to a store near Sparky. He doesn't know this yet. We're just informing him. So yeah, thank you to all our sponsors. Bits. If you want to throw 200 bits at this lot, they will use them to make rerolls. If you feel sorry for the adventurers, monkey face. Donate 200 bits last year to give the party a reroll. They can't be used on the DM or death saving throws, and they don't roll over to the following week. If you want to give me 500 bits, I will try real hard to fudge up their nat 20s instead of giving them high rolls so far every time. There's all that good stuff, the roll 20s and the bits and the cool. Right, couple of things. One, I'm going to be at UK Games Expo again this year. On the Friday of UK Games Expo, I'll put a shout out when the links go live and all that good stuff. I'll be doing a talk on world building. Way better than last time because I had a one-to-one with a professional teacher. Sunday, I'll be doing a Art of Winging It. Yeah? Oh yeah. The Wingmaster 5000 coming to a Games Expo near you, kids. So that's going to be beautiful. So we're going to do that. If you're into LARP, look out. There will be photos absolutely spamming our social media of Forsaken Lands. A LARP that myself and Eddie have got together with the Twisted Goblin Armories. We have wrote a rule set, Eddie. We have shouted loudly at LARPCon, me. And we've got some beautiful props, Twisted Goblin Armories. We've also, it's family friendly, it's going to be amazing. Just look on our social medias, we're going to spam so much imagery coming out. It's going to be amazing. Right, now the super important bit. Every year we do a charity stream, and I mean every goddamn year we do a charity stream. And so far we have raised £8,000. Round of applause. Wow, well, we'll edit that bit out. £8,000 no mean feat for a bunch of nerds that don't run marathons, right? Only one of us could probably run a marathon, but we don't mention him because he's getting fatter. So, we're not going to run any marathons, but we will play games for 24 hours, 49 hours, 24 hours again. Then we did another 24 hours. Then we did 24 hours. We like staying awake for a long time. So what we decided to do this year is do a week-long stream. Now, there will be sleeping involved. For me, what them lot do is up to them. 24th to the 28th of July this year, Monday to Friday, noon till midnight every day, 60 hours of D&D. We're going to be doing the continuation of this very campaign. These lot will be sat around Rich and Amelia's table, that poor table. There will be minis, there will be dice, there will be maps, there will be music, there'll be pizza flying through the air. It's going to be mad, absolutely brilliant. So it'll either be a continuation of the fantastic adventures of this bunch of merry folk, or it'll be a level 1 campaign starting and playing 60 hours through. And every 10 hours I might let them have a level. There'll be mini dice, exactly, Sparky. Right.
I didn't agree to the pizza throwing.
We don't want
Come and stay, but you're not throwing pizza.
Just you know,
Everything you said and the one thing she reacted to, and there'll be no food fights in my house. Thank you very much.
there will be no food fights in your house.
Wow.
That's a waste of food, isn't it?
I don't spill a drop. You'll lot throw it around. I'll probably. So, recap. You all died.
Yes.
Some of you voluntary. You retrieved your friend. Your souls were broken in the lands of Stoneheim. You fought Fenris, the Devourer, and you met Queen Rune. You escaped Stoneheim. Your fractured souls now whole. And you all ended up in places of time, of memory, of past, present, and future. You walked the Emerald Forest, where you saw Velk in some sort of tornado-like elemental force, ink and parchment torn asunder. He told a story, or at least was trying to tell a story. The words came consistently, then stuttered, then forgotten, then remembered differently. And the current adventurers in the narration of Velk Tumbleword all came together out the other side of the Emerald Forest. A kaleidoscopic storm of colours and a wee bit of vertigo. And you all stood before a castle. Looking around you, you notice a couple of things. One, Althea is asleep on a beautiful cloud-like pillow under her head, just laying in the grass, comforted. Stood not far from her, appearing as her echoes do, you see a darker skin-toned archer, blue and white hair kind of rising up and spiked. Rhea, you almost sense the Fey essence from this archer. Their longbow is of a blue-stained wood. What is going on with my camera?
It likes the background more than you.
Right. Of a blue-stained wood. Blue-feathered arrows in the quiver. Bright eyes. Swirls of white and blue across the face. The aura of Fey coming from this entity is both elemental and Fey-like. They walk over to Althea and put a hand on her forehead and just stroke it gently, just whispering, and you can hear a gentle breeze going out from the mouth. They look at all of you and simply say, "While she sleeps, I will accompany you. When she wakes, I will have to leave. I cannot enter the castle without you. However, and then looks across. And Eddie, can you re-describe what they saw last session?
So, before you, stretching from each of your peripheries, is a large castle that's all across the horizon, basically. A swirl of colours, large stonework making up all the kind of layers of it. At the front of it, there is a huge portcullis. The more you look at it, the closer you think it is, but the further away it seems. It's unfathomable. The portcullis is open, and there is a road stretching out in front of it from where you initially sat in the kind of grass in the distance, where each fleck of grass was made up of seemingly words. You sat and you were drawn to the castle. And before it, there is a creature or an entity that looks similar or akin to what you believe to be a tabaxi. Frizzy hair of all different colours. There's patches of blue across its kind of fur. And it is just staring at you with a smile.
So, as you are stood before the castle and this creature, as described, you feel a twist in the air, a turn of ambience. You hear chimes all around you in the air, and you see a very deliberate shift in the colourful creature before you. Now, for those of you with the stream up, have a look at what's just happened. It's important you look.
What?
So, the primordial of air and fear-like archer stands with you, and you see Althea safe in her sleep. This echo of Althea standing with you, without the moustache, and about 5'11". They're very much of Althea's build. Dungeon Master, it's over to you.
Come, my friends. Time is short. We do not have long.
Okay.
It's not northern.
It's not normal.
You have places to go and people to see, do you not?
Yeah.
Well then,
This fluffy creature still has a mustache, doesn't it? Yeah.
Indeed.
It still has that stupid shit-eating grin.
indeed I do.
Yeah, okay. Oh.
All right.
Don't just stand there. Come inside. Come inside.
What is your name? This time?
This time? This time? This time? Most people call me Magic, but Magic in the Air is what you might say my full name.
Your name is Magic in the Air.
Indeed.
Will Althea be okay?
She will.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know you. I'll start
Alas,
walking towards the fluffy thing.
I know all about you.
I feel
That's not
Althea's
a
trust towards you all. I will honour that trust. While I am with you, I'll do my best to keep you safe.
Thank you. Magic, why do you know what's going on and where we are?
Why do you not?
Because I've never been here before.
Where are
Doesn't
we?
Doesn't mean you don't know what's going on. Where do you think we are?
Oh, we're the main characters. We don't get let onto the plot.
Well, what would bring that thought about? Where could you possibly be right now?
I'm going to walk towards Magic and not ask any more questions.
Perfect. Come right in. Come right in.
I'll pull an arrow
Don't
and
worry.
notch it loosely and just walk, looking round either side.
Do I still have both my swords?
You do.
My new mist one and my shadow one.
You hold 2 katanas, one of mist, one of shadow. Any mechanic regarding to that, I'll deal with.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep them ready and follow the tabaxi. Look, double check
That is
everyone's here and
not
then follow.
tabaxi.
As I said, time is of the essence.
I'm coming. I'm sorry.
They're named like a tabaxi. They look like a tabaxi.
They're
Peculiar
pink.
word, one might say. I
I'm
might say that you look like a human.
Yes.
a bit paler these days, but
Many words for it over the years, I'm sure, but yes, definitely paler.
what's in the castle?
What isn't in the castle?
Us?
Us.
Exactly.
Let's go then. Suppose.
I suppose
And,
we should fix that.
Inwards or outwards? Are we inside? Let's go.
Okay.
A small golden light goes from Althea to the archer, and he now has a amulet and a golden shield. And there's no sign of Althea.
If I find out you've killed our friend, because we're being very trusting right now, if I find out that you're actually being very shady and have killed our friend, I don't really know what I'm going to do about it, because I don't know where I am and I don't know how powerful you are, but I know what I'd like to do.
Interesting perspective. But I can assure you, the only one who would kill your friend around here is, well, you.
What? Why on earth would I kill my friend?
Lack of inaction is sometimes just as pertinent as action.
I'm here.
We're
I'm here
going,
if I'm
we're going.
able.
I am so confused.
I'm going to hold Rhea's hand and pull her with me.
I willingly get dragged.
I have been confused since I left Laconia. I'm not getting used to it.
Inwards we go. Through the portcullis.
But I thought
Into
you
the
said that it was
castle.
outwards, but it could be inwards, but it's also outwards.
I feel in these situations, sometimes it's best to go with what you perceivably think is real. Because explaining to you differently is sometimes strange.
Go with the flow?
Would you like it to be outwards?
No, this is fine.
I'd
DM,
rather it all just made sense.
is there a smaller doorway, or is it just the portcullis that we can go through?
There is a large open portcullis, no smaller doorway.
Do you wish me to look ahead?
Yes, please.
That could be smart.
We're not used to being smart. Go for it. See what happens.
I'll hold the golden shield amulet, and then I'll walk towards the portcullis as quietly as possible, in a stealth-like manner.
So, as you step towards the portcullis, you are almost lost as you're kind of fixated, being or like looking down your bow side of things. You're transfixed on your purpose or your target. Your kind of vision is almost that set that as the swirling colours of the walls and as the kind of strangeness of the fact that you, as you're kind of focused, you can't even really see beyond what's in the portcullis, even though it doesn't seem like there's, or like you shouldn't be able to. Your vision should be able to see that far. It doesn't seem like it's dark. It just seems like there's almost like there's a void of kind of whiteness. You step forward, and as you are walking towards it, how are you getting close? Like you just keep going until you're.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything beyond it. Otherwise,
Okay.
I'm not going in.
As you get right up until when you think you're in front of it, it's strange because it's almost like you feel like it's a couple of steps, but you're walking and walking. You get there, and as you're kind of at the edge of the portcullis, you're transfixed, and you start looking inside, and before you, almost as if it's shifting towards you and filling that void, a large room opens up. What you'd expect of kind of almost like a foyer. Grandeur, a large kind of staircase circling up both sides, stretched out in front of you, large kind of red carpet rolling down the staircase, out stretching towards the where you're stood at the portcullis. Again, it seems as you're focusing and you're fixated, that gap between you and the stairs seems to stretch out an eternity, but you reckon you could make it in 2 or 3 steps. Along the sides of the room, there are various kind of statues of kind of what you'd expect to be knights, but as you're looking at them, it's almost like they're kind of plated suits of armor, but as you're looking at them, they kind of shift and they're twisting from lizardkin to Goliaths to Minotaur to various other creatures. And then as you're looking away and you're seeing it only in your peripheries, it's a suit of armor.
Do you see any people of any flavour?
Not in the foyer, but from behind you hear magic. Well,
can I see everyone, or just magic?
You can see everybody still outside as you're looking around. It's as you're moving, your vision's really blurred, like you're trying to focus as much as possible, but you settle and you can see people.
I'll just call back. It seems safe. Some strange statues, but the foyer of a castle nonetheless. And I'll just kind of, where I am, take a knee, arrow held, just keeping an eye out for stuff.
Okay. And I'll head in with Rhea still towed behind me.
I'll follow, looking over my shoulder, keeping an eye behind us as well. But yeah, catch up.
I'll go in with them all.
Very, very similar. As you're approaching the kind of that void where the portcullis should kind of start looking into what you'd probably expect to be some sort of courtyard or like a typical makeup of the castle. You get there and it's almost weird that like a room starts stretching towards you, and then as you're at the kind of step as you go into or beyond the portcullis kind of area, the room is there in front of you, and you're at that point where you can step forward. If you all step forward, you're stepping into a foyer, large kind of carpet stretching out to the kind of staircase or the grand staircase leading off to the like kind of right and left in front of you. Those kind of statues or suits of armor around the room. To the one thing I described, to the right and to the left of the room as well, like, stretched out, there is a door either side as well. But other than that, the kind of entrance or the foyer is just a vast open room. You feel magic shuffle in behind you. Well, welcome to the castle. Inside, outside, who knows? So, you're all in a bit of a predicament. I say you all, we all. Am I correct?
Yes, I think.
Was it your castle?
Is it my castle? Yes. I find castles somewhat reassuring. I can keep things inside them. They're secure, strong. They run the belief that they're strong at least.
Are you planning to keep people inside it?
Am I planning to keep people inside it? I keep everything inside it.
Are we in the story?
Somewhat, yes.
Like the realm of the story before it goes on paper, or after it is on paper as it exists?
Yes.
Is this the realm of stories?
Well,
or your story?
You are very, very clever, aren't you? The realm of stories.
The castle is not the castle. It is an idea. It is what people think is security. So I would see, we've all seen the castle because it is strong with the walls.
A mighty intelligent person.
That's
He's
very
really
unusual
not.
for Bjorn.
My
So that's
people
what-
are great storytellers. It is an art.
That's what Velk did then. Velk, to get us away from the individual worlds we were in, pulled us here.
But where do you want to go now?
Home?
You want to go home.
Alive, ideally.
Home.
Back to the temple that we were in previously, because I said home before and made a mistake and ended up in Ravenholm, and that's not what I'm aiming for.
As you're saying this, you feel a kind of shudder in the room, and you're kind of looking about a little bit, and behind you, the portcullis has closed, and it kind of seals, and you can't see the outside anymore. But what happens is when it seals, it starts to shift, and it just, where there was the portcullis looking out into the outside area, there is now a large oak door, and in front of it, a plinth. The oak door is closed, but there is a plinth that kind of rises out of the ground, made of what seems like stonework. And if you could all make perception checks for me, please.
Yeah.
I get to roll a
Yeah,
play
no,
a
good at
dice. I should have stayed at home.
You're still using that nat 20 dice, are you?
Yeah, damn right I am.
Without any other numbers on it.
16.
22.
22, 16.
I might have forgotten to open D&D Beyond. Give me a second.
17.
It's okay. It's going to be about a 4. Just don't mind me.
Yes.
21.
Good. I only roll well for AD. Well, while Eddie's in charge, I've got shit rolls. Yeah, 4.
Oh, nice. Bjorn?
No.
21.
21? Cool. Okay, so Tony and AD, you see on the plinth what seems like, again, as you're staring and focusing on it, it's shifting, and it's difficult to focus somewhat. But as you do, you spend a bit of time, you're like, oh, what is this then? Because it's like you can see something on it. As you're focusing on the top of the plinth, you see there is actually some small kind of, it's almost like engraved in letters that stretch across the front of the plinth, and it spells out home. But so it's like they're engraved, but like it's like there's something missing, like something should be placed in them, so they're like grooves.
Like slots.
Yes, yeah, slots. Rhea and Bjorn, when you're looking at this, you see exactly the same thing. But as you're looking, the more and more you focus on it, the slots and the plinth itself, everything you're looking at and you're focusing on, it's almost like there are 1,000 words making up each of those kind of individual elements of it. It's like you're focusing on the word home and the slots or the grooves where you think something could be placed, but as you're like focusing on them, it's looking like there's tiny little scriptures even within the word home. Well, home it is. But as with all things, it's never simple. Heroes need a journey. They need something to help them get home, right? They can never just go.
We've been on one hell of a journey. I think we deserve to just go home.
I don't think that's on the cards somehow.
Well, it should be.
I feel you do not sometimes, or somewhat, understand the situation. There is more to your story. There is a need to, how would I say, make the pages turn again. There needs to
So
be
the book's frozen? We need to do more?
Yeah, there needs to be a force to make it start again.
Fireball.
The challenge.
Yes. Yeah.
The heroes need to slay a monster or save a princess or overcome something
Yes.
to lead to the next part of the hero's journey.
Exactly. There needs to be story to start story.
Well, I was taught that the end destination isn't the point, so it's just one more step. So where do we go?
Sorry, just while we're getting into this, Bjorn, have you had some sort of brain transplant?
Lyconians are famed for the stories that they tell.
So why
Sure,
are you
but-
so boring?
Okay, so do you have a monster
I'll go
that
pick
we're
up the
supposed to
sledgehammer
play?
that Raya just threw at me.
Just douse them with water.
I have been taught the art, but not all of us are artists.
I'm sure you'll get there one day.
I like
It's
your
not with
stories,
me.
Bjorn. I like your stories, Bjorn. So is there a monster here we're supposed to slay? Something we should go and look for, you know, a great quest within your castle?
I mean, you're welcome to go anywhere in the castle, but I can... Yes. Yeah, there's most certainly things in here we can make something out of.
Yeah.
Some sort of story, some sort of tale to get it going again.
What do we see door-wise or up the stairs or...
So in front of you there is the kind of staircase that's stretching up with the door that goes off to the right and the left, and just on the level that you're on there is a door that goes off to the right and the left.
Is the portcullis still there open?
No, that's the one that's shifted and now is like a large oak door with these plinth raised up in front of it.
Pick a door, Bjorn.
I think we should all decide together. It should not just be my choice.
You seem to know the most about this place. I've
Also,
no
we really
idea.
have no idea. Is there anything to distinguish the doors from each other?
So are you just looking at them?
Yes.
Cool. Make a perception check for me, please.
It's got to be better than the last one, right? 19! It is better.
Yay!
So where you are now, if you're unless you're going up to the other doors, which I'll explain in a second, but from what you can see, the door in the top right it seems almost I'd say regal in some sense or another. It's like a almost like a fancy, like elegant door. There is kind of gilding to it, a little bit more like finely crafted. The top left-hand side, there is what around the kind of door seems to have the best way you can kind of describe it is almost like a land and sea kind of twisting around it in sort of engravings. I can explain in a second if you need to.
It's okay. 1 second. Just carry on explaining to everyone else.
Althea's friend. What do we call you?
Ronan, son of the Landslord.
Are you one of Althea's echoes? I don't quite understand how she calls on her friends.
Of a sort. I am her healing spirit.
Yeah. Well, nice to meet you.
And you, Winter Rose.
Everyone seems to know that name.
If Althea knows it, I know it.
Oh. Okay.
Oh.
Roll initiative!
Cool.
One on the left.
Nice. On the left, so as you're looking at it, it's like the more you focus, it's like swirls of land and sea kind of engraved in it, or what looks like land and sea, but it seems to be shifting, like almost like the engravings on the door are shifting around, almost like a world map, but it's kind of moving across the kind of panes of wood. To your left, your actual left, there is the door seems to be made of stone, and there is kind of snow like drifting down slightly, and then at the bottom of it like shards of ice that are starting to like form up on the sides of the door. And to the right, there is a door that looks more like the portcullis that you first saw, actually like just like this grated iron door.
Okay. So I'll point out what I've seen to everyone else so we're all on the same page.
Me and Bjorn didn't have the best luck with the sea.
I did hear your story. Bjorn told it very well. I mean, can I go up closer to them and reach out and touch the doors? Do any of them feel different? Do they have any other... Do they feel magic? Is there anything... Do I get anything from them?
Which one are you going to?
The one that looks like the portcullis we came in through.
As you go there, you touch it, like you reach out and kind of put your hand on it. Okay, yeah. So as you do, you are kind of taken aback a second. You kind of stumble back. In front of your vision just goes like almost dark, and then it cuts into like a scene that's playing out in front of you of what seem kind of like small stone, almost dragon-esque creatures flying around in the sky. Large warriors throwing spears across your vision. Huge stag-like creatures charging at you and around you, and they're kind of clashing against things. A lot of heavy stones hitting each other, thudding and like ringing in your ears. Your hand kind of jolts off it as you feel that, and you snap back into the room. The rest of you just see FaZe touch the door and then step back.
Okay, so if you touch the doors, I don't know if it's the same for all the doors, but I'm going to assume it probably is. You get a vision that I think might be on the other side of it, or is just a vision. I'm really not sure of anything. Am I touching a door?
I'm going to walk to the ice star. It seems to draw me, being who I am. I'm going to reach out and feel that one.
Cool. As you place your hand on the door, again, you have that jolting sensation. Your vision goes dark. And you're there, and it almost feels like you're crouched down, your hands gripping at snow and ice and rock underneath you. You feel this kind of bitter chill in the air around you, this sleet swiping across your vision. You're looking up and trying to focus something in the kind of above you, in the distance, but the wind is howling, and you're having to kind of strain against it to hold on to this rock, and you're reaching out to try and go from ledge to ledge. Jolt back. Everybody else just sees you touch the door. So.
I think Bjorn would be at home in there.
Sounds chilly.
It was very cold.
I will try the water one.
The kind of world map that's shifting. Cool. So you put your hand on the door. So, in fact, to be fair, before that actually, so as you're walking up the staircase, every step that you're taking, it's almost like you're taking 3 or 4 kind of stairs, but it feels like you're not moving forward for a second, and you're looking around, and you're kind of you're confused as to you're stepping, and then you kind of jolt forward, and then you realise you've actually just taken 3 steps, but it felt like 30. You get towards the top of the stairs, and there is more of these suits of armor across the kind of the bit in front of you. They are still kind of shifting between like different creatures, different entities, some looking vicious, some looking kind of like kind of clawed monsters and all that sort of stuff. And for the briefest of seconds, you think you see yourself in one of these kind of shifts. So you're kind of looking, and you're sure it's almost like it's a mirror, but then it shifts and changes to like another kind of entity, and then keeps shifting. You get to the door with the kind of world map that's shifting on it. You put your hand on it, and as you do, you are again kind of jolted back. But it seems like you start to drift upwards, like you're falling, but you're being pulled up. And now you are looking over something, a land and sea that stretches out far beneath, or like far below you, but stretches out all across your vision, as it were. You start to fall ever so slightly, and towards where your vision's focusing on, you start to see what seems like a city. kind of rising out of the ground in front of you. You're maybe a few thousand feet up, but you can kind of see it just growing from the kind of earth beneath you. As you're falling towards it, you jolt and you're back.
Okay, so, Base, you saw a battle?
A very rocky battle, yes. Rocky dragon things, giant stag, lots of people throwing spears, yes.
Saw a city. It was unfamiliar, but I was high in the air and I did not know where I was.
Were you falling? Does that imply that opening the door would cause us to fall through? Because that would be unnerving.
Sort of. Not as if I was going to immediately hit the ground and die. I was quite high up, but yes, I was falling towards it.
All right. Which doors do we have left? We've got the royal door left.
There's only 4 doors.
So just the royal. In which case, I'll touch the royal door.
Cool.
So we know what we're dealing with.
As you are walking up the stairs, you get a similar sensation to Bjorn. Every step you're taking, it feels like you're taking 10, but then you look around and I must have only just taken 1. As you're also walking up the stairs, the small kind of light bluish ice-like dragon that was floating around Magic's kind of vicinity starts to fly towards you. As it does, you're stepping each of the steps, and it seems as though for a moment you are walking on a staircase far bigger than you can ever imagine. Like you are taking step by step. You also grow in size, so it's kind of surreal. The land or the kind of room around you even kind of seems small and diminishing in the distance. The small ice-like dragon that's flying towards you, suddenly as you kind of look back, it grows in size into a full-size kind of adult-esque dragon, or whatever you can imagine from the stories and the tales. This huge gargantuan kind of dragon that's just hurtling towards you. You turn and you snap for a second, and then you shake your head and you're back in the room, and the dragon just circles and flies back around and down towards Magic. And you step to the top of the staircase and go towards the regal door. Put your hand out. It jolts for a second, your vision goes dark, and you see in the kind of in front of you a veiled curtain, and an entity the other side of it's laying perfectly still on what seems like a bed, and there are just tears. And you're trying to focus on this entity behind the bed. You can't quite make out any sort of detail. You can just hear weeping. As you hear the weeping, you kind of reach out for a second, and it's almost like your hand rests on the shoulder of someone by your side, and you jolt, and you're back in the kind of grand foyer.
Did I get any idea of who the person was on the bed? If it was someone I knew, or if it was just a shape? Just
a shape of it, or an outline of a humanoid kind of person.
Okay. All right. So that one was a little weird. Well, actually, they're all a little weird. But I'll just explain what I saw. Also, the world went a bit funny in here as I was walking up the stairs, and Magic's little dragon became like a giant dragon above my head.
I don't know what to say. Things shift around here quite often. It's probably not the first time or the last time that it will, I don't know, change maybe.
As long as it doesn't eat me.
Well, I can't promise that, but you've got to remember there are no dragons in Colossus, right?
You're not as comforting as you might think, Magic.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Magic. Is it because, as the shamans, like Onya would say, one person can tell a story? but how it affects someone is individual.
You've been doing some research. You've been reading books.
No,
I like
do not so much have the books. It is all like a spoken library.
Spoken word. Spoken
Experience.
Word. I like it. I like it. Viconians do like to tell a tale. You're correct. Passed down from generation to generation. Some great
how we
stories,
remember.
as are these stories around you.
Which story do you want to pick?
Well, the royal one seemed less immediately violent. The one Etheria described seemed very cold, and yours might involve plummeting to your death.
Yeah, mine looked a struggle. It was like tundra and some kind of climb or something.
I'm not saying we should go for the easiest solution, but I also don't want to fall from the sky.
Plummeting should not be an issue with me around. Or at least not at any great speed. I can soften your landing if we are to fall.
Rhea, what do you think?
Part of me feels like these aren't our stories.
I don't
They're
think
not
they are.
Actually, for us to participate in.
Some of them are others' stories. Some of them are stories yet to be told. Some of them are simply stories.
Well, who's the stories that aren't ours?
Well, that's for you to figure out. In some senses, do you need to know them all?
Yes. You can't be stepping in on other people's adventures, on other people's hero-told stories or tragically told stories. That's not our place to be.
Stories are journeys, experiences.
But
The reason
aren't
you tell stories are shared experiences, shared
aren't
stories.
stories also what you make of them. It's your story at the end of the day.
You place yourselves in the stories of others. You adapt and you almost see yourself as characters or traits within the stories. And
We
that in
already
of
are
itself
our own
spills.
characters in our own story. Intervening on someone else's will help no one.
Your story is frozen.
May I offer a word? Just kind of stands there, awaiting.
Please.
Please, Ronan.
Althea does not walk in the land of the living, otherwise I wouldn't be here. If we are in a castle of stories, and there is no one else, whether they believe you to be our stories or not, whoever's they were, are now ended. So their stories too are frozen. If Althea is not in the land of the living, then neither are you. So either we adapt or
Die.
carry on the stories of whatever we see before us, or I return the amulet and Althea comes back and you all end your stories too and become part of the castle. I, however, need to heal Althea. I would
I would
prefer
much-
guidance from yourselves as Althea trusts you, and
We need to go forwards, whatever that looks like. We need to pick a door. We cannot stay.
Want to stay?
I know.
As I've said, your stories are frozen. The only way to restart it is, well, stories yet to be told. Stories that are here, that have been told and retold. There has to be a way.
I like the regal one. It's not cold, and we're not falling.
I trust your judgment.
I would not. This is not a judgment. This is simply going, I prefer this door.
then let us go.
Bjorn looks kind of longingly at the stone and ice door.
Mm-hmm.
Or just kind of shrugging and just going,
All right, warm.
we could take the
Fine,
regal one if you wish.
I would walk 500 miles.
All right, I will hold on to Rhea's hand again and try and open the door.
So you're just so you're at the top of the stairs at the minute.
Mhm.
The only other person at the top of the stairs at the minute, unless you both come down, is Bjorn. So you're just calling out.
Yeah.
In which case, I assumed as we decided people were coming up, but that's
Yeah.
Are you all just going up, yeah?
I'll join him at the top, yeah.
Cool. So, Etheria, as you're walking up the stairs, you have that strange sensation similar to the others. Every step you're taking, it feels like 10, 15 steps, but you're looking down and you're like, I must have only taken one. And it's that realization, that kind of moment. And as you're looking down, and then you're like, I must have, you kind of shake your head and you step forward, and it's almost like you fall, and you fall and you fall like through the stairs, and you just keep spiraling downwards. And below you, there is a huge kind of molten, kind of lava-esque landscape, and you are falling all the way down, just hurtling towards the ground. And as it becomes within 4 or 5 feet, you're about to hit the snap. You're back on it. Your foot reaches the next step, and you kind of pause for a second, and then carry on walking up the staircase. Rhea, you're walking, and you are again getting that sensation of it's taking longer than you expect, but you're looking at the stairs as though they are just there in front of you, maybe 10 steps. As you're walking, you feel yourself, or the ground kind of shaking, and you put your hand on the banister, and as you grab the banister, it starts to shift, and it forms into a large, what seems like a snake, and you're grabbing it, and it's withering and swirling in your hand, and then you realize for a second you're not on the stairs anymore. You're just grabbing hold of this large snake in this kind of almost jungle-esque climate, or this landscape, this terrain. In front of you, there is a huge pyramid-like structure that is stretching out in the distance into the sky, as it were. And you look at that, and there are creatures. You can just hear noises all around you, just roars and stomping, and what seems like a heartbeat that's just boom, 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 boom. And then you snap back into it, and you'll carry on walking up the stairs. Ronan, each of your steps, you are feeling that sensation just as the others. Every step's 10, 15, 20 steps. And as you're doing it, you are, for a brief moment, it seems like you are looking at 5, 6, 7, 8, and you can't describe how many. Numerous that just start appearing around you. You're walking in formation with what seem like yourself, just mirror images of yourself, like these kind of echoes stretching out around you. And you are in this formation, this army, marching forward across what seems like plain lands. Before you, another army in the distance, the ground kind of shifting and bending so you can see them clearly ahead of you, almost like you're in a bit of a valley. And you just step by step by step, and this hum on the air as you all start kind of in tune, just going towards this adversary in front of you. And as you step, you feel the kind of adrenaline of what seems like war seep over you, and then it cuts and you're back on the staircase and you get to the top. You're now all stood by the large regal door, the foyer that you once were stood in, stretched out, almost seeming like it's slightly smaller in the distance, and you could have sworn that magic didn't even follow you up the stairs, but is now next to you. Well, what next?
Yes, through the door.
Oh, I like it. Who's going first?
I will.
Cool. You all watch.
I've still got my arrow out and ready.
You all watch as FaZe puts a hand on the doorknob, like a crystal-like doorknob, and as she starts to turn it as though to open it, it just disappears.
Well,
What phase just disappears?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am going to cast Armor of Agathis on myself and immediately try and open the door with the doorknob.
Plus.
You put your hand on the doorknob and you just disappear.
Cool.
With them just disappearing, I'm going to kind of startled, like step forward and try and grab them as I go, but just go through, I guess.
Yeah, so your hand reaches out just as Bjorn puts his hand on the doorknob, and you see him start to twist it like the phase in the first place. Just as he twists it, you reach out, your hand almost brushes his shoulders, it just disappears.
Raya freaks out and she just straight for the door. Just
Cool.
fuck.
First, almost barging it out of the way, just you twist the doorknob and you disappear.
I'll leave.
Down the staircase.
Fucking lunatics, man.
Gotta go join that army.
Constitution saving throw, bitch.
We got loads of swords. I'll follow through, holding the gold amulet with one hand, the shield
I think you
amulet.
should follow through.
Why? It's good for you. Lets you know you're alive.
You just disappear.
One last look behind me and downstairs, and both swords out and follow.
Magic gives you a little nod, and you twist the doorknob and disappear. All of you,
Die.
as the sensation in your minds. So to each and every one of you, you've just watched each other disappear. But starting the phase, it's as though you've opened the door. So you've twisted the doorknob, and the door has creaked open, and it slowly creaks forward, and you step into what seems like a fairly warm-ish room. There's a fire crackling off in the side. It's stonework, a couple of small windows dotted about. You step forward, and there is a large 4-poster bed in the back of the room. That 4-poster bed has these kind of sheer curtains that are just drifting down, blocking you from viewing whatever is on the bed. To the side of the bed, there is a small child, sort of a small boy, mousy blonde hair, in what seems like what a noble child would wear, just kneeling down at the foot of next to the bed towards the head of it, and you can hear weeping. As you move into the room, you almost don't even realize you're doing it as you're watching this scene. The small fireplace crackling. There is a large rug, like a bare kind of skin that's stretched out in front of in the middle of the room. Some fancy kind of furniture all around it. Some huge paintings all stretched along the side of this kind of bedroom scene that seem out of place. But we'll talk about that in a second when the rest of them gets there. For now, you also look out into the window, out one of the small windows, and it seems like you're at the top of a tower. You're up high, you're overlooking, but you're looking out across a landscape around you, woodland in the distance, small farms and things like that. And all you can hear is this child's weeping just echoing. As you look behind you, one by one, the rest of you have this same sensation. Just step forward, and you feel as though you're opening the door. It creaks open, and you're in this kind of what you can only describe as a noble's bedroom, with this small, mousy, blonde-haired boy weeping at the head of the bed with sheer curtains.
Sorry, I might have chosen the depressing door.
Do we see our friends as we step through as well?
Yeah, you all see each other one by one. You're all just stepping through, and you're in this. The room seems, even though it's probably should be small, it seems massive to you. like I say, there's paintings that are out of place. Then like this bearskin rug, loads of finery, that sort of stuff.
Any of you recognise the child?
Don't think so.
Unless
No.
it's got wings. No.
I approach the child, kind of crouch down. Hello? Why are you crying? What is wrong?
I fear my mother's dying. She's not moved in quite some time. I don't know what to do.
Is she ill or has something happened to her?
I don't know. Can you help?
I can try.
Can we see her on the bed? You said we could see humanoid on the bed.
So as you
Sorry, Fez.
so as you kind of start, like, or you move around, you can see that the sheer curtains, where the head of the bed is pulled back. So this small, like mousy haired, or mousy blonde haired boy is kind of definitely looking at this entity on the bed. As you look or you focus on it, you see what you can only describe as a humanoid woman in clothes that are very regal, and there is a kind of finery about her, but there is a coldness so it looks as though all of this finery and her very flesh and being is stone-like. It's like she's kind of, the only way, or if you can describe it, it's like she's almost like petrified in a sense. Around her neck, as you focus, you see a kind of jeweled necklace that is also kind of now stone-like in appearance, and there is an E on the jeweled necklace.
Four rooms,
Okay.
4 letters.
Oh.
Unless you spell home differently where you're from.
Not usually.
Can I do a medicine check on the woman?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, go for it.
I ask. I would like to attempt. Are you still looking at character sheets? 15 total.
As you kind of go over the initially when you're trying to do it, like you're getting closer and stuff, the mousy blonde hair boy like seems quite nervous, but you kind of step forward, get a better look, kind of give a little touch every now and again with the back of your hand and kind of looking around, and as you're doing so, you're checking what you thought would have like.
I'm trying to work out if she
should be
actually
moving.
is stone, or if
She's
there is
yeah.
life.
There is no movement. There is she's rigid. There is no breath. There is no kind of pulsating of a heart or anything like that.
But is that
Just cold
dead?
to the touch.
Dead or stone?
The best you could describe it is stone.
Okay.
But if somebody was in this state, they'd
yeah,
probably be dead as well. Yeah.
Some weird shit going on. I was just trying to make sure.
Epheria's going to kind of fold the swords behind her and try to look a bit less intimidating. Lean over a bit. Just
There are
watching what's going on.
a lot of you here. Why?
Well, how did your mother end up like this? What happened?
Cursed. They said the woman. She said that Everdorn would never be the same again, and she cursed her.
Ever Dawn?
Yes,
Is that your mother?
this is my mum. Yes, so Everdorn. And Vicral. This is my mum. They said that it's our don't know what to say. The woman cursed her, and now she won't move.
I'll look at the party. I can heal, but removing curses is beyond my skill.
Mine also.
It's not a talent I have.
I'd like to try and dispel magic.
Cool. What level?
Third.
You cast it. Roll a d20.
15?
15. Cool. So you place your hand on the kind of stone woman on the bed, and as you start to feel the magic from your fingers seeping in to the stone that's in front of you, there is almost like a for a second, and everything starts to shift, and where the stone was, you're focusing on it, and it's almost like the stone is becoming words, and there are loads and loads of words that are really, and you're focusing on it, really kind of compactly writing on it, as if like the stone is made up of thousands upon thousands of words, and you're shifting, and as you dispel magic, there is this ripple, and then you feel almost like the blowback of the ripple, and anything on you that is magic, any items or anything like that you have on you at the time when you entered here, for a second, you feel their presence. You feel their kind of like you've been used to their presence. Like when you carry magical items, you know they're there. You know you've got them, and there's like a ripple, and it's like they all shut off for a second, and you're like, you kind of almost panic, and you're like, and then they kind of it comes back to you.
Are the words still upon the...
No. Your vision kind of goes back, and it's just stone.
Who was the woman that cast this curse upon your mother?
She, I don't know her name. She came into the throne room, and she said that my mother didn't do something that she was meant to. She made a promise, and the woman cursed her.
How old are you?
I turned 8 last week.
I'm going to slowly wander the room and look into the paintings.
Cool.
I'm going to take the E.
So you tried to the E?
Well, you can do Tony first, just letting you know.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
Cue up the actions.
Okay. So
get
you
used
go
to
over to the
this,
wall. I don't know if you like before you go snatch.
Yeah. Oh, look, a pigeon.
Cool. So you walk over to where the paintings are on the wall, and as there is like a surreal moment as you're walking towards them. It feels like you are walking into a different room in a sense as you step towards them. So you see them on the wall, and it's like you're trying to focus on what these paintings are, and it's blurry. And you step across towards them, and you start feeling as though you're walking on wooden floor rather than a stone floor. You look around, and you're still in the bedroom, but then you look back towards these paintings, and there is wooden floor underneath your feet. The walls are kind of a more kind of coloured, they're like plastered in a sense, like white kind of wooden walls, and these paintings now pop out from each of the kind of large gilded fine frames that they sit in. There are a number of them in a row. Yes, so if you are focusing on the first one, I'd like you to make a perception check, please.
12.
12, okay. So you focus on the first one, and you're looking at it. And as you're looking at it, that blurredness starts to fade a little bit, and you focusing on it, you're like, I'm sure. And in the painting, it almost becomes like a scene, and you see what you think is this kind of huge, towering wall with smoke kind of billowing from below it. You're almost stood on the top of this wall, like as you're looking at it, you're stood on top of this wall, your vision getting drawn in, and this smoke kind of billowing from below. And there are hordes of these creatures that you can't quite make out, just hurtling at the wall, throwing themselves at it, smashing against this wall, scratching it. And as you are looking down, you see this entity from next to you jump over the wall. And it is a humanoid kind of entity with a rapier that looks like a kind of, or the hilt of it that looks like an eagle. It is throwing themselves off this wall towards these demons that are slashing below that you can now start to make out, scratching and clawing at the wall. And then in the distance, a huge dragon starts swirling around. And then your vision snaps back.
Does that feel familiar to me, knowing stories of demons and the things that I would have studied back in there?
Roll a history check.
Fuck's sake. History 3.
Because of the surrealness of the situation and how you're trying to focus on it, but you're not quite sure where you are, what you're doing, that sort of thing. You may have heard of tales of demons and the likes, but you can't quite pinpoint or focus on where you've heard it.
Yep, fair. My stupid dice. You can go in jail.
Right, Tony, I'll send you the book afterwards.
Do you just move along?
Yeah, I'd keep looking at each one, just wondering.
There are 7 more paintings. So do you just keep going along the road? Yeah.
I would slowly walk across them. Yeah, obviously, I doing what they're doing behind me.
So the second painting, you see as you're focusing on it, this blurred kind of scene start to come into focus. And as you're looking at it, you are drawn into it in a sense, and you see these large halls of white marble and gold, these kind of what seem like majestic in a sense, like this large kind of, as it's looking out, it almost feels amphitheater-esque. And you're stood, it seems like, behind the stage, looking out at this huge, muscular Goliath of an individual. And they are it's AD in a toga. And they are
for you, baby.
They are looking out across this this kind of hall with hundreds, if not thousands, of people stretched out in front of them. And you can't quite make out what they are saying or what they are doing, but you just hear songbirds kind of fluttering and echoing around you as you're focusing on this picture. The Goliath by its side, as it's doing this performance, has what seems like a bronze-esque longsword. It's kind of attached to its hip. And your vision shifts and you focus back. The next picture along. So you are focusing on this one.
Mm-hmm.
The vision again starts to blur ever so slightly, and you are drawn into what seems like a scene of long grass and jungle-esque features, or just forest-esque features. There is a lot of hanging vines and shrubbery and bushes and thick undergrowth, and you're poised as though looking about, stalking something, and your vision through a few of the blades of grass starts to focus on this halfling-sized woman with kind of woad clawed across her face in a crouched position, bow strung and drawn back, but the bow is a reed that's kind of bent into the shape of a bow. Her vision just focusing down the arrow, and as you're focusing on that, your vision shifts to become one with hers, as if you're focusing down an arrow. And the arrow looses and flies towards an entity that as you're focusing on this entity, your vision snaps, and you're back in the kind of wooden room. The next one, you focus on it, your vision shifts, you are drawn again into the landscape of the picture. Your vision starts to blur, and you are in what seems like a darkened grey scene. You can see on one side of your vision, your periphery, you can see a light forest glowing in the distance, fireflies fluttering around, and small glowing orbs floating in and around it or amongst the trees, and laughter as you're focusing on it. On the other side of your periphery, you can see a dark, twisted place. The trees that are there kind of hunching over, no leaves to be seen, just twisting and twirling in the landscape, howls and cackles, and a kind of sense of, like an eerie sense of things. And this grey, mottled landscape stretching out in front of you with only some kind of sense of being, some shrubbery, the odd entity that's perhaps walking about, but you can't quite make out what it is. And then you see conflict ensuing from either side, almost immediately, just an eruption. Two sides, large amounts of entities in the distance just start to pile into the scene and clashing. But as that split second before the clash, you notice an individual hunched over, beast-like in nature, large, muscular, kind of almost bear-like nature to it, holding this war glaive. And as this fight is about to smash against each other from either side, basically, this hulking beast-like individual just swings this war glaive, and as he does, your vision snaps back into the room. Cool. We'll go to the next couple of paintings in a second.
Yeah.
Back. Cool. So, back in the room, the rest of you watch as Etheria walks over towards the paintings, but as Etheria walks over towards them, is almost kind of slowed down in a sense, like walking towards the paintings. They just start to go ever so, it's like their movement is slowed, and they're just, you can see Etheria just focusing on these paintings, these blurred, weird shifting paintings. So coming back to Ronan, you reach out to take the...
As I'm doing that,
Yep.
I'm going to summon a bestial spirit,
Mm-hmm.
which will take the form of a cloud that is shaped like a small puppy, probably that of a Labrador. And it'll have blue tinges around where the eyes would be to give it facial features and such, a dark blue nose, but it is a cloud young dog from the looks of it. And I'll give it a little nudge. I'll just whisper and the magics will formulate on the bed, and the little cloud dog will jump down and nuzzle the boy as I reach out. I'm not trying to sneakily take the E, I'm just casually taking it.
Vicral noticing this, like, so for the first time, whenever he's been talking to you, his vision has been kind of shifting briefly between you, but mostly focusing on what you believe now to be his mother. And you are focusing on, focusing between you, but now it shifts, and you see the tears are still kind of rolling down his face. And you see this slight little smile break out from amongst the tears as this puppy just dives forward and just starts playing in the little area around it. Your hand reaches up and you touch the E. As you touch it, please make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, wisdom. Oh, better than charisma. Possibly not. 13.
Cool. So you touch it and you are immediately kind of your mind is clouded. You're touching it, you're holding this E, and you can't focus in on anything else. Your mind is completely lost as to why you're holding this E, this symbol. And it starts, so you've not gripped it, your hand is on it at the minute, you're kind of holding it where you could then pick it up. And amongst your hand where you're looking at it, about to take the grip, you can feel it start to glow. And you start to almost forget why you've even reached out in the first place. And you're looking at it and the words are starting to form around where the E should be. Loads, hundreds, thousands of words just start to form into this E. And then your hand is there. And then you snap and you're back in the room, but your hand is just on the E. But you just can't seem to pull it. You don't know, anytime you try to pull it, you're just losing that sense of even why you bothered putting your hand on there in the first place.
It's not my E, must be your E.
You've killed him.
There's too much E.
It's just too much E. It's bright red.
It's his beard.
I'm having flashbacks.
I've chose
It's just
it.
too much E. All right. Do I see you try and take the E and
I'm
get lost?
Clearly, yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
And you've let go of it again now.
I've not been
Please
able to
don't.
get hold of it.
Anytime you reach out to try and take it, you just lose it. Like your hand touches it, and you just lose any sort of sense of like why. You just put your hand back. It's like
I keep missing.
Yeah.
Okay. And a theory of inner painting or interacting with a painting. Because I disappeared for a few minutes, so I'm trying to work out what everyone's doing.
Yeah, I'm wandering the edge of the room looking at these paintings.
And if Etheria looks at another one, I'll shoot him with my arrow. Not my bow, my arrow.
Did the kid try and stop you trying to take the E at any point, or was he not? Did he not bother?
He was too interested in the pup.
The dog.
Okay. Carry on. I'm thinking.
What was the boy's name? Boy's name?
Vicral.
Vicral. What a whammer. Where's your father, Vicral? If you have them. Or mother, or siblings? Any other family?
I don't. My mother told me stories of what I think is my father. This brave brave hero turned up, but I haven't seen him in years. Well, she hasn't seen him in years even. He just turned up and then left before I was even born.
The deliverer of milk. Why does your mother wear jewellery of letters? And I'll gesture at the letter E.
It's her name, Eleandra.
May we borrow it?
I sure hope that one day I can maybe meet my father, or he'll return and save my mother.
May we borrow the amulet?
If you can take it,
It's not mine to take. It's your mother's.
Yeah, I don't see why not. If it helps her, if you can help her, you can take it.
Could you
All I
pass
need
me
is
it?
her back. Reaches out, and you see for a second, he
Sets a trap off. Fucking kills us. No, I should have got the druid to do it.
you see for a second he reaches out, puts his hand on the necklace, and then his hand just kind of goes back. You can have it if you can help her. I just need her back.
And if you're good with letters?
Just hope one day that he'll come back and save everything.
No,
Can't even read.
I mean, I'm good with letters in that I can read them. I can try and pick it up, but I don't see how it's going to go any differently. I've been watching you attempt it. It was quite funny. It didn't seem to go very well.
Eddie,
Mm-hmm.
are there any other exits to this room?
There's windows, so there's 3 windows, and there was the door that you came in.
Oh, from that's what we.
Yeah, it's the
assumed to be
same. It's the
we
same.
came in.
Yeah,
Okay.
the same this side as it was. The other side.
Ronan holds the gold shield amulet, thinking of Althea. Looks at Bjorn. My Viconian friend, the windows are not exits.
Anything's an exit if you try hard enough and you got wings.
As you're holding the amulet, thinking of Althea as well, the sense of connection is kind of almost overwhelming for a second. You think of Althea and you are just almost like you're embracing Althea. It's almost like Althea is there with you.
I'd like to go over to Votral and crouch down beside him, and just what was your mother doing when she became sick? Had she touched something recently? Had she interacted with something recently? What caused her to become ill?
Remember it? Well, the woman who came, my mother was, I was in the throne room and watching her, and she said, she was teaching me I'm to be king one day, and I'm going to rule over Everdor, and I'm going to be, the greatest king you'll ever know. But she was there, and the people were coming to speak to her, and they spoke to her, and this woman, this old lady who came in, and I don't know what she wanted, but she said that my mother didn't do something, and she said that she cursed her or something, and then she went to sleep, and now she won't move.
Okay, we'll do everything we can to help your mother, okay? Rhea, you have the ability to dispel magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you try dispelling it on the letter to see if that allows us to pick up the amulet?
Don't see why not.
You reach out to the spell magic art.
Dispel it.
We roll a d20, please.
I'll pick up my cloud puppet. Back the fuck off.
Yeah, I'm also going to hold the boy back a little bit.
Rhea, you go first.
A 19.
19. Cool. Your hand touches the amulet. So you reach out to it to start trying to dispel magic. It doesn't touch it. It just starts seeping into it. Clever definition. So the magic starts seeping into it, and as you're focusing on it, again, the stone-like features in front of you start to shift into small hundreds, thousands of little words that are making up this stone in front of you. And as you're focusing on it, there is a and you start to see like the words ripple, and the kind of E starts to glow ever so slightly, and then there's this, and everything on you that is magical turns off.
Sorry.
Everything that is about your person is now mundane.
Fucking rough around here, isn't it? It's alright, it's alright. Shh, shh.
Got your puppy. Everything's good. Did I make out any of the words while they were shifting across the stone body?
To you just see Rhea put her hand out, some magic start to, like you can kind of see a swirl of magic, and then she just moves her hand back.
My tishy mushrooms.
Your what?
My tishy mushrooms.
Sorry about your mushrooms.
You had magic mushrooms?
I had magic mushrooms.
Eddie,
And I had a ring that gave me
Is-
plus 2 AC.
is the letter loose?
No, it seems like it's, well, from what you can see, it doesn't look loose. Like it's
Part of the stonework.
part of the stonework, yeah.
My temporary hit coin.
Ferry is going to finish walking around the room looking at paintings. Not quite focus anonymous as such, but looking for a woman.
Cool. So, do you just go painting to painting? Or are
Pretty
you,
much.
are you
Yeah.
trying to look real briefly? Not controlling?
Yeah, more looking a bit quicker, looking over the shoulder and thinking
Okay.
possibly it seems something happening, but
Uh,
just looking for something that could relate to what the boy's been telling us. A woman or a knight or hero or anything that.
I'm also going to ask the wee man what languages he speaks, as I may know a cure for the curse in a different language.
Cool. We'll go with, so Etheria first, make a Constitution saving throw. Just
On
real-
your eyes.
Con save 15.
So you're trying to, basically the first painting you try and look quickly at, you try to shift your eyes, but it's almost like you ripple, and you're whatever you do, you're now looking into the painting. So as soon as it starts to unblur, you're like, is the spinning sensation. And you're like, the fact you tried to pull away, it's almost like you moved incredibly fast, like you spun yourself round. The next painting that you get to, you find yourself in a vineyard stretching as far as the eyes can see. Luscious grapes and all sorts of like sunshine, and it is beautiful, like spectacularly beautiful. And you're pacing through it for a brief moment, and you are kind of almost infatuated by how luscious this place looks. You spend some time walking its kind of pathways and things like that, and amongst them you see plucking a single grape from the vineyard, a grey Armani fur tabaxi, looking incredibly beautiful in a black silk kind of attire and a rapier down by his side.
I'd just like to say, years from now, when this podcast is being watched by my grandchildren, I want them to remember that I said to you, what a fucking whammer.
Yeah. And as you're watching this grape plucked from the vine, your vision shifts. It's broken. Do you carry on looking? Or do you stop looking at that point?
Yeah, I'm still trying to look for a woman or a hero, something that can connect them to what this boy said.
Before we go paint hopping, I'm going to call a break. It's 10:15. Yeah, so we'll have a quick bio break and get a drink, cup of tea, or a glass of red apparently. Yeah, stay tuned and see what this fucking... I swear, so much more as a player. As a player. Apple bottom jeans. We'll be back in a sec. Break time. Right, we're in. Tedward, for those of you that have not been watching, or have just joined us, or etc., etc., magic in the sky. A beautifully colourful tabaxi is currently leading the party through a magic castle. Now, turns out the stories are frozen, and we need to jumpstart those stories. Althea's healing spirit, Ronan, son of the Lance Lord, is accompanying said party of adventurers. 3 to 1. Over to you, skinny dungeon master. We need to change that from heavy to light.
Nice.
Lightweight gaming.
Eddie's not a lightweight.
In the man drink.
8 kilos, mate. 8 kilos. Says on what?
8 years old, 8 kilos. It's all making sense. So you have a major. So Etheria has looked at 5 of the paintings. You've got Vicral, still kind of.
I want to know what language you speak.
Near the bed. Okay, that's cool.
I'm playing with my puppy Cloud.
You just asked straight out.
Yeah. Well, I may know a. What's the word? A removing of a curse can sometimes be done in different languages. Do you know many languages?
I speak well. Everybody really speaks. They say the common tongue.
Do you speak the language of the Celestials
I
or the
speak
dragons?
Celestial, yes. It's a sort of a family thing.
Do you speak the language of the dragons?
I'm learning. Trying.
Do you understand this? And I'll kind of, in Draconic, say Winter Rose. I don't want to say this sentence, but it's going to be brilliant. We may need to smash the mother.
I got Rose.
Yes, very good. Get that on a t-shirt.
Maybe Mother. Yes, Mother.
Well done, you are learning.
Rose, Mother. Is this?
There's just random words thrown together. Sometimes Draconic is used in magical curses.
Hearing that, I'm going to stop looking at the painting and I'm going to cast a message back to Ronan. Are you sure? We may need to remove the boy.
Shit got dark. Fucking hell. I can respond to that, yeah?
Yes.
I always forget that you can respond to them. We need the letter. It's embedded in the mother. While she remains stone, we can't get it. Agreed about the boy.
I love her. I really do.
And so you should. So you should, back
all of you make perception checks.
as he grows fangs and a fucking
18.
17.
perception 21.
19.
Did it dirty 20.
All of you. Nice.
21.
As he says, I love her. You are all. There's a moment where it just seems like you're all focusing on his words, and you are sure that his skin starts to go slightly grey, and then the mother's starts to go paler, and then you're focused again. I just want it back. I really do.
What happens if you hold her hand? Just to let her know you're here.
I suppose. Hey. Puts his hand up. Goes to touch his mother's hand on the bed. As he does, his hand grasps the mother's hand ever so slightly, and you see what seems like, to all of you watching, the stone starts to seep into his hand, out of the mother's. And then he moves his hand away. I really just want it back.
Is his hand still stone?
No, as soon as he moves it away, it goes back to like its normal kind of palish skin colour.
In the process, did hers start to lighten and return to skin?
It goes to stone, yeah.
Hang on. So he held her hand. He started turning to stone.
Touched the hand.
He started turning.
His hand started to seep to stone. Hers started going pale. Hers started going pale. He moved his hand away. Hers started to return to stone. His started going pale again.
Try it, Biggie, and I'll ruin the rest of your fucking D&D days.
Anything to have her back.
Anything?
Oh, really?
In Brit.
But there are very simple stories told to the children, obviously, of our tribes, about great heroes and magical curses and the lifting of them. How much do you love your mother?
Anything in the world.
Have you tried giving her a kiss on the forehead and asking her to come back to you?
I just sit here. I suppose I could.
There is a great deal of magic in love. Try it.
I guess so. I didn't really want to touch her or do anything just in case I made it worse.
You will not.
I'll say in Draconic to the lad, love. As in love, not Yorkshire love.
Come on,
Gives a
look,
kiss.
just do it.
I give that mama a smacker.
I suppose. I kind of stands up and he looks over, like tears still streaming down his face. He kind of looks over at like the little pup, just kind of smiles a little bit.
The pup will grow in size to almost mastiff size, and be the protector next to the boy. Still cloud and blue.
He kind of leans forward and just looks back a second. Are you sure? Won't make things worse.
No.
I don't believe it can make things worse for your mother.
Inside check.
Yes.
Yeah.
Twist your arm. Kisses the mum on the forehead. As his lips touch her forehead, you see just around the spot that he kisses, the stone starts to seep back and starts to go pale. And as it seeps down, it's almost like the skin, or like the skin colour is trickling down the body, and the colour starts to return. This kind of royal blue-like colours start to return to the dress. But as you're focusing on this, your eyes also notice that the boy starts to go rigid, stiffen, and around his mouth, stone starts to seep across his skin, and starts to seep all over his body. But where it reaches his clothes, they start to go this greyish colour. He kind of turns and smiles, seeing his mother start to return to life in front of him. And he looks over at you with a smile, and as he smiles, it just turns to stone and solidifies, and he just stands rigid. And he goes, Mother. Who are you? Vicral? What have you done to my boy?
Nothing. The curse that was on you is currently on your son.
Why? Why is my... She kind of reaches out.
Because he loves you.
Does she touch him?
She puts her hand on him.
Does any change happen with the stone from him to her?
No. There's no shift.
So what part of your bargain did you not hold?
Wretched woman. All I asked for was
a child, I'm guessing, right?
just wanted
And
to...
he was the thing that you had to give back, and you didn't. Because bargaining with the life is easier than, you know,
Not this.
going through your life without a child, huh?
Not this.
Just so you can have another heir? Is that what it was? You're gonna bargain a child for power?
I just wanted someone. Not this.
What did you expect to happen? Was it a hag? Did you make a deal with a hag?
Harry's going to cast a
Wretched.
message to Rhea and say,
Wretched woman.
Rhea,
She's taken my child. Did you do this? Did you make him? Why? I thought it was just inevitable that something would happen to me.
When we came here, he was kneeling beside your bed, crying, and had been for some time, and you were stone. He reached out and kissed you, and the stone passed from you to him. It was unfortunate.
It's foolish. Why would you do that?
Because he loved you. Loves you.
Of him more than anything. I don't understand why. He should have... He has a kingdom to rule. He has so much to do.
You were his home.
He wasn't
That's where
going
he
to
felt
leave.
safest. And you abandoned him.
I didn't
He
mean to.
did the only thing that he could think of
I
to get
didn't mean to.
back home.
Rhea, don't be too harsh.
Just wanted a child. Is that wrong of me?
No?
Now this.
What did you promise for the child?
It seems so foolish now. Just some old family heirlooms. But I thought nothing of it.
What was the heirloom?
This woman she wanted was a ring. It's been in the family for generations. I thought I could promise it to her and she'd give me a child. And I honestly didn't even think she'd survive the winter when I spoke to her. People said that I shouldn't bargain with her, but I thought, like everything else, she's helped people.
But you didn't fulfill your end of the bargain.
I probably miss out on quite a lot of things I meant to do. She came asking for it, and I probably should have. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought she's just an old woman who. I don't know what I thought.
Perhaps if you make good on the bargain, you can fix things. I don't know. But it certainly didn't work reneging on it.
I'll whisper in Draconic to Etheria. Remember where we are. We can't dawdle. We need the letter.
I don't know what to do. I just want my boy back.
Well,
Hold up your end of the bargain.
That's your only option. Is an heirloom ring really worth your son? Your life? Either of these?
Milady,
No.
we are in trouble too. We could use your amulet that you're wearing. We promise we will keep it safe and we will look out for this person you made a deal with.
That's why we're here.
You need this? And she holds up the...
Please.
I...
Well, I can't promise anything, but we will try and do right by your son.
If you... And she goes over to the dressing table near the bed, opens the small drawer in it, takes out a silverish ring with blue kind of decorative swirls around it and a small blue sapphire. If you take this to the woman.
Where is she?
And I'll give you this now, but you must promise that you would take it to her.
I promise I will try.
Where is she?
She's just east of Swamp's Reach.
Is that a place I know of in our world that I'm aware of?
Not that you'd be aware of. Just east of Swamp's Reach.
We can't guarantee how quickly, but we'll try.
I trust you. You have...
He's not going anywhere.
Good.
You have perhaps shown me the error of my ways.
The error of your ways probably should have been clear when you thought that someone who could magically give you a child would not survive the winter. Kind of strange that you did not think, oh, magical child, can't light a fire. But, you know.
She knows she's made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. Hers was particularly dense. She knows.
We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for a mistake too. Be kind. We will try our best. I cannot promise, but we will try.
She passes or hands or holds out the E on the necklace and the ring.
I'll take both, and I'll thread the ring onto a card or something and put it around my neck.
As you touch the E, it kind of dissolves in the hand, disappears, and you're just left holding it. Thank you. I will do far better.
We need to leave.
My Corral will do far better.
We
I'm just
need
gonna
to
walk
leave,
straight
but
to the door.
just look at one thing. Do you see the smile on your son's face?
Yes.
That's because you woke up. Before that, he was crying. At least he's currently at peace, and there's hope for a life in the future with you. And then I'm going to walk towards the door.
You see a small tear just rolling from your cheek as you make your way to the door.
Bow slightly and I'll follow.
I'll leave as well.
Follow?
I'll place a single arrow on the bed. Bow to the whoever she is, some monarch. Let the dog, the cloud mastiff, have a nuzzle into the stone boy. I'll heal it over, and then me and the mastiff will leave.
Walk out of the room. As you all, one by one, grip the... so you see each other in front of... Like you're in a bit of a row, as it were. You're gripping the handle, turning it, disappearing. Gripping the handle, turning it, disappearing. One by one, you're just leaving this room. Each of you feels that same kind of... To you, it just feels like you're turning the handle. The door creaks open. And you're back out into this grand foyer of the castle. Now stood at the top of the staircase. Magic by your side, as if never left.
Holding the ring on the card as I step back through the door. I'm going to open my hand and look to see if it's still there.
The ring is still there. and you've got the chain that the E was on. And have you put the ring onto the chain?
I put the ring onto a card and then just put it
Okay,
around.
yeah. Right, like, yeah, the ring is still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on top of that.
So, 4 letters, 4 doors, 1 down. Pick a door.
Well, considering
magic.
it might take us like 20 minutes to get down the stairs, because it took forever to get up them.
You wanting a short rest again, Bjorn?
Well, no, I was just going to say we could take the door that's already up here.
Sounds good to me. If we could do it without murdering any more,
Makes sense.
temporarily putting into stasis any more children, that would be great.
We exist now in the realms of stories. Need to move the story along. Those seem to be the rules here.
Well, the story's moving. It's in a different direction, but it's doing something over there.
How do you know? That may have been the direction the story was meant to go in. How long do you think a child would kneel at the bed of their dying mother without giving them a kiss on the forehead? Perhaps even to say goodbye. It would have happened anyway. We just sped it along.
A ferry is going to walk past and push up on the next door.
World one, the one that's got this word and word. Okay, cool. So as you step across the hallway towards the other door, can you please make a perception check for me, please? Well, nice. You step across, you're walking across, you're just focused on this door, the shifting atlas moving along. You notice the statues at the top of the hallway are still kind of shifting between different figures and entities and beings. You get to the door. You open it. Anybody else doing anything?
Yeah, just straight through.
Cool. Okay. Happy days. Cool. You put your hand on the stand. The kind of doorknob is it's almost like a globe in and of itself, like a small kind of cylindrical shifting, like again like an atlas almost shifting. Twist it into everybody else. You disappear.
Follow. With the Mastiff. I don't know if Time's Wiz was here, but it lasts an hour.
It's still there. It's still there. Yeah. Cool. You head over the hallway. Can you make a perception check for me, please?
Me? Oh, no. Am I making the perception?
Yep.
Oh, shit.
20.
20.
No.
Fuck you then.
I refuse to see what's going on. 20 minutes. Dirty
I'm
20.
tempted you to do that.
It's because Amelia turned her head as if she was looking down to roll dice. But you were eating. Which is better.
I'm eating crisps.
Yeah. 20.
Cool. So as you're walking across the hallway, you notice these statues that are shifting between different entities, and you kind of focusing on them as you're walking. It's like an unusual sight, as it were. So your gaze is kind of drawn to them, and as you're focusing on it for a moment, it seems to shift into a large kind of shadowing wolf-like entity, dark fur, smoke kind of emanating from it, eyes just staring down at you, these purple cylinders just gazing at you.
I shoot it.
Shifts. Oh, you just shoot like you react. Cool. Okay, make it
Casually, not like I see it happen
You just
and I fire. More out of curiosity than
make a weapon attack.
26.
That's cool. To the rest of you watching, bar through it, you see Ronan just loose an arrow towards the direction of one of these statues or like sets of suits of armor. As the arrow connects, you're all watching it, and it's kind of shifting between these entities. There is like a clang, and all of you, including Ronan, for a few moments, it's like a scattering of different entities are like falling over or stumbling over each other. They're all from where this suit of armor was stood, there is a kind of cacophony of sound, and these entities just stop dropping, tripping over and scattering across the floor. And then there is a shift. And then it's just like an arrow that's never been fired. The entities are shifting again, and the suit of armor back from all sorts of tawdry to the elephants, or whatever it is, the different races, the different creatures.
Okay, and just before I grab the door handle, I'll turn to the rest of them and be like, that shit's dangerous, and then I'll grab the door handle.
Cool. You twist it and the rest of them disappear.
Does the Mastiff disappear with me?
Yeah.
I'll head through the door after them.
Cool. You walk across the landing. You make a perception check.
I don't know. It's been variable tonight. Say, oh, my dice tray's on a complete angle. Sorry, this is very boring. Right. 13.
13.
Yes.
Cool. So as you're walking across the kind of top hallway, as it were, you looking down to your left for a moment, and as you are, your kind of vision is drawn to where the staircase is going down, and you kind of lose track of the fact that you thought you were going to see the kind of the rest of the foyer kind of stretching out this grandeur and all that sort of stuff, but you see ground, dirt and stone stretching out into the distance, kind of a barren landscape, small shrubs and rocks, just a large open plain. And you hear this and in the distance you see this humongous, this gargantuan, just giant entity stepping across the landscape, pace by pace by pace. And you hear this roar and a swing, and as this entity swings, you can't quite make it out. It's humanoid in shape, but you see what seems to be an arm and a hand miles into the air, swing down and smash against the land. Dirt billows up. Rocks are thrown everywhere, some even towards you, and you kind of wince for a second, and then you snap back, and the foyer is as it was. Just a grand, majestic looking foyer. You get towards the door and you put your hand on the doorknob. Twist, disappear.
Okay.
After you, Rhea.
I'll go through the door. Oh, at least walk towards the door to walk through it.
Could you make a perception check, please?
16.
16. Cool. So, you're walking towards the door. You're focusing on it. And all you can think about is what went on in that last room. It's kind of circling around your mind. Clearly, frustration, annoyance with the story. And as you're walking, not even really focusing on where you're walking towards. As you look up, no longer see the door or the hallway or any of the foyer in front of you. You see what seems to be, or what you can best describe as a vault, in a sense. A large open or swung open kind of door. You'd expect something precious to be kept in. Red probably doesn't understand perhaps the concept of a vault, but the thought comes to your head of something that you would secure, something within, something that you would protect, something and place something in that would keep it safe. And as you're looking at this vault with the door swung open, there are pages and pages just swirling about within it. All swirling words and pictures and things that kind of stick out, names, or not necessarily the names themselves, but you can just see things. And you see a kind of formless being walk towards the vault and start to hold up, seems like a box. As they're holding up this box, they begin to speak in a language you can't quite comprehend. Just hear this. And as they're doing so, the box just seems to start to kind of disintegrate into what seems like words. Again, hundreds, thousands of words. And they just start to swirl and are drawn into the mix of the vault. And you're focusing on it. And you're trying to watch it. And the vault door starts to closes. And as it does, transforms into the door of the atlases that was just, or the atlas that was just kind of shifting in front of you, and the foyer returns to vision. You put your hand on the door, twist.
And then I will follow after.
Make a perception check for me, please.
17.
17. Cool. So you are walking towards the door, and as you do so, you're focusing on it, but your feet start to feel kind of like they're not walking on what you'd expect, the wooden floor anymore. You look down, and there's sand scattered all around you. You're curious. You're placing your feet on it, and it says, as you expect, but you're walking on sand. You look up, and you feel the sweltering heat of the desert sun burning down. It is, as best as you can tell, midday, because the sun is high in the sky. All around you, there is a hustle and bustle. It seems like there are entities running between stalls, perhaps a marketplace that you can make out. There are chatterings, and people playing and yelling at each other. You can hear, it seems like prices, items, words being thrown around, trying to focus on it. And you are listening. You hear gold, you hear emerald, you hear riches, glory. You hear wealth, the jingling of coin, purses being slid along the countertops, and to the slightest of distances, but never seems closer and closer, the sound of the ocean, ships pulling into a harbour. And as you're walking, taking steps through this marketplace, you shift and you line your back towards this door in the foyer. Your hand on the door, flick and disappear. All of you, as you place your hands on the doorknob, you open the door. This time, swing the door open, and you are almost, find yourself walking forward to nothing, just darkness. You can't seem to stop yourself. Your hand moving the door out the way, and you're just stepping forward. As you step through, one by one, you can feel the presence of each of you joining you in this space, this large darkness, this area of darkness, the door behind you, and in front of you, the only thing you can even make out. There's no sense of being, there's nothing except this large table a circle with a rim of gold, but in its centre, a dome. Inside this dome is a canvas that is blank. You all walk towards the table. You just stand there for a second looking down. And then you look across at each other. You're all stood around this table, looking down upon it as though for 1 second you're looking at it as though it's a table. And then you lean in slightly and it's as though you're looking over this huge blank canvas.
I give the Cloud Mastiff scritches.
Right, so there's nothing on the table at all.
It's a circle table with a gold rim and then a dome. Inside it is a blank canvas.
Okay, is there anything else around the room?
It's not even a room.
Huh.
It is weird. It is just pure. There is nothing special can describe it. Bar the door, which you all came through, it just seems to exist. You're not even sure how you walked towards the table. It is as though there is no ground. You are seemingly floating in something, just space.
Okay, this is going to sound really dumb. There's nothing under the table either, or on the underside of the table.
You lean down and it just seems like a normal table, like with the underside of it is just black.
Is the canvas loose?
Inside this dome, it just looks flat. So it's just like a dome over the top of what seems like.
Oh, sorry, I missed that bit.
A theory
It's a large circle with like a gilded outside rim.
is it glass?
Dome's glass, yeah.
Yeah. A theory is going to touch the glass and try and look closer at the canvas.
As you reach out, there is a weird sensation, and your hand kind of touches the glass, but seemingly goes through it. And there is a weird moment where you look up, and this huge, kind of pinkish dragon scale hand seems to enter the space above you.
Did you all see that?
Did we all see that?
Yeah.
Can you touch yourself with her? I know we've just met. And we've all...
This is like the size of this hand above you is again like almost unfathomable.
Oh, right.
But like in the distance,
Like a god hand.
Yeah.
But no, seriously though, two t-shirt quotes in one session. That's got to be a
Can you
record,
touch
right?
yourself, Etheria? Smash them up!
Gotta smash them on there. Touch
You're welcome. Somehow got to make an income, you know what I mean?
I love it.
Tony, I've got some artwork for you.
Okay, I'd like to test something. I'd like to get out just a copper piece and just place it on top of the glass.
I'll move out of the way.
So you just get a copper piece out, place it on top of the glass, and as you do so, do you let go of it?
No, I'm holding on to it. I don't want to accidentally drop
So
the money on
as
someone's
you
head.
touch the top of the glass with a copper piece, and even ever so slightly kind of just rest on it, you look up, and there is a huge kind of edge of a copper piece, far up in the sky.
Can we see any letters anywhere? Specifically of H-O-M.
Make a perception check.
This looks like a great way to make money. If we put a gold piece in there.
12. Then we can die to a giant gold coin.
In fact, not perception. What am I about? Investigation. Investigation.
It's not going to be much higher, I don't think.
Can I assist with that?
Yeah, sure.
Thank fudge for that. So 10 was the first roll. 6 was the second roll. I'll take the 10.
Etherea's too busy touching herself.
Or literally as you're looking around, you're trying to think of what this could be, all that sort of stuff. All
Something
that is in
carried
front
away.
of you is the table, circular table, golden rim around it.
And the dome's over a piece of blank canvas.
Bjorn, this place is stories.
So the table literally has a golden rim around this dome with a blank canvas in the middle.
So can we touch the gold rim?
You can touch you touch the gold rim.
Yeah.
The gold rim of it.
Yeah. Is it
just
solid or does it let me through?
It is solid. It just runs all the way around this big table.
I look at Bjorn and then I kiss the glass.
As you go to kiss the glass, again, vastly far up in the sky, you just see these two
Beautiful
lips,
blue.
beautiful puckered lips just lean forward.
Not
That
Barry butthole.
not
That
all
was
stories are the
horrifying.
same. Some of them have worked differently.
Bjorn,
Does
don't you
anybody
neglect-
have anything to write with or draw with?
Sure. I'll pull out.
Yes, I have brush and parchment.
There you
Two
go.
katanas.
As you say,
Yes.
what did you say you have?
I have brush. I paint.
There he's got calligraphy.
As you say, brush and parchment, in the space around you, there are scrolls that start to appear, just floating, and small little brushes that start to float around you.
The letter H.
The,
Let's try.
The other letters that make the word home.
O. Letter O.
I was
M.
I take a brush.
nothing happens when you're saying the
Damn
letters.
Is there brushes as well?
Daddy.
Is there brushes as well, or just a part?
Yeah, just parchment and brushes that are just kind of floating aimlessly in the space around
I'll
you.
grab a brush.
Yeah.
Is there any ink? Or is it just
Like, there's
parchment?
no ink. There's no ink at the minute. Just parchment and brush.
I grab a piece of parchment.
I have ink in my
I
pen.
do this with a brush on the parchment.
As you do that, so as Etheria says, I have ink. There's small pots of ink that just start floating.
I will
around in the
stop
area.
doing that on the.
And as you're doing this on the parchment, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to form?
I'm just doing a circle on the parchment. I just want to see if.
Well, you're trying to see if you could do a circle.
Yeah.
The circle starts to manifest in whatever, like color or shape you are thinking.
But
of.
is
You're
it
trying to-
an ink-like manifestation, or is it paint, or
It is
water?
a paint-like manifestation. Is it with the brush?
And
Because
then-
you're
and then it's a-
painting it.
And then the ink appears.
And the ink is like just in small
Yeah.
vials that are floating around.
try and put it on the dome.
As you're doing this, so just
Okay.
quickly, as you're doing this, as you're saying these things, as you're doing things, the rim, the golden rim of this table, like where it's like kind of flat, starts to glow ever so slightly. Just real slightly.
I have two thoughts. Bjorn, you say we're in the world of stories. I think we might be at the beginning.
Oh.
And
Oh.
also
Ah.
and the rim of the table. The rim of the table looks like an O.
It does.
Try and rip off the gold rim.
No.
Smash and grab.
I lick the rim.
I think
You've wanted to say that since Teddy first said rim, haven't you?
About 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think we might need to write it, or perhaps set the scene. There is nothing here.
Can you
Set the
describe it?
scene makes more sense.
All
Once
right.
upon a time, there were 6 adventurers.
I'll look around.
There's 5. Magic's not here.
Can you describe it, Tori?
As you say, magic. I'm always here, but you can't see or.
Determined.
Isn't it?
Previous spark magic, go away.
I
Give
write
me my
I write
map.
the word horse on the piece of parchment that I'd already written the O on.
As you write the word horse, you're holding a part like the
And
parchment.
then
the word horse.
Bjorn started to encourage me to put it on the glass. So I'm just going to put the parchment with the word horse on it on the glass and let go.
So, okay, cool. You place
Smothered by
the
You blame this shit on me.
you place the word
Beyond
the
said.
horse on the glass, and you place it on the parchment. And as you let go, above you, this huge piece of parchment just starts floating down, just almost like caught in a breeze that you can't see or comprehend.
How high is the dome? If I'm 5'10", is it taller than me, or am I taller
the
than
dome on the table?
Yeah.
So the table is probably a meter or so off the ground, and the dome is actually like just a meter above it on the table.
All right. So if I sit down, it's higher than me. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
I'm going to sit down. Theory being the parchment hits the glass before it hits me.
Nice.
It's a fucking theory.
So
I'm gonna hold
this
the knife
parchment's just floating down, and as it floats down, it just starts to break apart. And around you, in the distance, some close by, you just see these horses start to appear.
I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna get parchment,
Do a
paper,
naked stick man.
and I will attempt to draw from a bird's eye view the continent and the city that I saw when I touched this door.
As you're trying to draw or attempting to draw it, it's almost like you perfectly replicate it. You are like your imagination is just appearing on this page, and it is like as much as you can with a kind of obviously a distance or bird's eye view side of things, fairly zoomed out as it were. You get this drawing in front of you,
And I'm gonna place that drawing on the dome.
okay, and then you let go, or
I'm very worried I'm going to get a city fall on my head.
No, it is the first. You know, sometimes in storybooks you have the map at the front.
Yes. So the first page, right?
so you see this large, like, massive piece of parchment just
There's horses in mine.
floating down. And as it starts floating down, just starts to dissolve. And as it dissolves around you, there's rumble. And these buildings start to form all around you, as if you're in the middle of a city, just stretched out. But this table's still in front of you. And this cityscape starts moving around you. Figures blurring. You can't quite make them out, but they're just interacting with each other and moving around you. Occasionally you see horses. There's still paintbrushes that you can focus on, but they're now kind of placed in pertinent places. Some ink on a stall to the side of you can manage to pick out of the blurs. And you're stood around this table every now and again, leaning in, seeming like you're over the top of it, looking down upon it. But then you're leaning back and you're stood at the table again.
Okay. So apparently we are gods. At least here.
Still dead.
Does that make me?
So are a lot of gods.
Does that make me the fifth dragon?
Could be.
Don't draw a dragon. Just
Wait.
being really clear.
Halfway through painting one. Oh.
I'm gonna
Actually start painting
draw.
one? Does the Fury start painting drawing?
She was starting to put brush on paper, but I was like, oh.
Okay, cool. Beyond what you draw?
The
Fire extinguisher.
the scene I saw, the like desert scorched kind of marketplace, the heated scene I saw just before I got in here with all of the people interacting and the shouts of like wealth and gold and glory around me. I'm just going to draw as much of that scene as I can.
Okay. You're again pen to parchment or quill to parchment. And it's perfect in your interpretation. Everything you think of, you're just replicating on a parchment. This desert scene, a market square, that sort of thing.
Did the rest of you have these visions before you got to this door?
No.
What visions?
As I was coming to this door, I had the vision of this, and I turn around, turn the parchment around and show everyone.
Didn't see
I
a
did-
thing.
Giant open
As
space with a really big giant monster.
As he turns and shows you the parchment, he's holding nothing. But the landscape around you shifts, and you're in a desert sea. Hustle and bustle and market. You can hear people screaming out prices and trade and all that sort of stuff. The heat is sweltering in some senses, and you're just stood around this table in the middle of the marketplace. It's desert landscape.
I take a piece of parchment and I write on it. A fair wanderer finds themselves walking the streets of the desert city, holding the letter O in their hand, thinking where it would fit in the puzzle.
As you are writing a Fey Wanderer,
I can't draw for shit.
walks through the marketplace. As you're writing this, the rest of you don't even know what he's writing on the parchment at this point. But all of you, as you're looking around this desert landscape, your vision becomes slightly clearer on this individual. There's something mysterious about them. They're stepping through the crowd. Everything else seems slightly blurred. But this one entity, again, you can't quite make out the features, but it's just walking towards you. There's nothing in its hand, but it's just simply walking towards you. Ronan, as you're trying to write with the letter O, the words don't seem to
Form.
hit the page, but the rim of this table, this golden circle, starts to glow. Or like glows slightly brighter.
I think you're on the right track.
Do we think that the rim of the table is the letter that we need?
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, I do. It's the only thing remotely round and or like other than this ass.
Okay. And I am going to put the pen to paper, and I will draw a picture of the table and the dome broken, and Faye's holding the rim.
Oh yes.
Why did I get pulled into this? I was just
You're
having a like a lemon.
trying to draw the table.
Between her lips.
Whatever you try to put to paper, it just doesn't seem to fall. There's nothing on the paper as you're trying endlessly. Nothing seems to fall.
I think we may need to write the story rather than try to force it.
It is an entire world. What story could we write?
Could
Pick
we
one.
return the ring? What was the lady's name?
I don't know that we ever asked her.
We did. It was
Eliandra or something.
That's the one.
Or close enough.
I'll try to write something along the lines of the hag who made the deal with Eliandra approaches the party.
Sure.
In a weakened state.
Our story, right? We're
half
writing.
of our hit points gone,
capitals. Yeah.
and no spell slots left.
As you're writing that, nothing seems to, like the parchment, it just doesn't seem to do anything. Like you're trying to write it and where ink or whatever came up before, nothing.
Wait, what was the place?
Everdon.
When she gave directions to go and see the woman.
The swamp.
Swamp something. It was east of.
Swampy End or something.
East of Swampy End, yeah, something along those lines. That sounds right.
As all of you are saying these words, you're sure that you're saying them, but to each other, because all three of you are trying to say these, they're coming out slightly garbled. Yeah, like
It's
no matter what you're trying to say to each other, the words don't form.
It's the wrong story. It's not from here.
Oh.
So I can't
I
write
don't
it down either. Can I write it down?
If you try and write anything that's like that you're focusing on that could have been Swamp's Reach, you can't seem to put it on English.
Swamp's Reach.
I should have said. Tricks.
And the party got the letter. Oh, how? Don't know.
Just pops that off you there.
What if we had a giant hand come out of the sky and pick up the ring? And then
As you're saying a giant hand seems to form above you, humongous in size, but it doesn't move down.
We thought of this when Etheria put their hand in. The
Can
hand was so big it.
Anyone remember a story where basically the moral of the story is be careful what you wish for? Because this kind of seems like it might be that.
Sounds like a stupid story.
I'll be honest, my memory is not great.
Freya's just gonna stand there with her arms crossed and just say, like, I've never been happier to not know how to read. All right, this is great.
You can draw.
Do you know the Muffin Man?
I know
Muffin Man.
Who lives on Drury Lane?
The Muffin
Well,
Man.
As you
Married
say,
to.
Muffin Man, in the crowd, so behind where this like
Where's Muffin?
mysterious wanderer was walking, you see one of the other entities start to shift, and you see a tray in their hands. You can't make out the features of this entity.
We need
but they're just holding
characters.
a tray, and they are holding this tray of muffins.
Oh, I want to design a little ragamuffin street urchin kid who's really canny and like running around stealing bread.
As you say this,
Really?
just past your ankle, you hear like, or you feel something like kind of shuffle into you, stumbling about, and there's 3 or 4 entities chasing this small child. That when they go towards you, where the child bumped into you and kind of carried on running, they just run straight through you as though they're smoke, and then they form the other side and just chase off this small child into the distance.
And the
The
child's
child
wearing a
bumped
top
into
hat.
me.
Say that again.
The child bumped into me.
The child bumped into you, and you can see in its hand like it's carrying some sort of bread or loaf, and it's running off into the distance.
A muffin.
And you can hear this: "Catch me if you can."
Was that
All right,
because
Gingy.
It was the child I created, so the child bumped into me and was more real than the people chasing it. I don't know how that helps us, but it's interesting.
You didn't create the people chasing it. You created the boy.
That's what I just... Wasn't that what I just said?
Nope.
It was.
It's not what you said. You used other words. It's confusing.
Your face is confusing. It's blue.
Pink's a much better colour.
I have no idea.
Perhaps we should just tell the story.
This is.
Go on then,
Anything I write,
storyteller.
I can
Oh.
paint, but it's your tradition, Bjorn.
Yes, but
They tell stories all over the world, I believe. Only in Viconia.
Yes.
Yes,
I don't.
The only place of the story.
Yeah.
yes.
no.
It was a dark
Everyone
and
tells
stormy
stories.
night.
As you say, it's a dark and stormy night. The
Could you please
Like,
be careful
the
what you wish
weather
for?
shifts, and you start to feel this kind of patter of rain, and the wind picks up, and it goes dark, and the hustle and bustle of people around you. You see them start to wrap up shop.
Above the storm, I'll shout. There was a warrior of gold and red.
The kind of in front of you, there's like a swirl of this sand down this road leading out from where the marketplace is, and this swirl kind of settles, and there's a warrior stood there, golden armor, and a red billowing cape.
She brought the strength of the Etorian sands and the cries of the arena with her, and approached the 5 adventurers, a strange cloud-like dog.
As you start to say about the arenas, you hear this kind of in the distance, these kind of calls, these like all that sort of kind of arena chanting, all that sort of stuff. And this warrior starts pacing.
She's come towards us or not?
She is not coming towards you. You watch as the road that was kind of moving towards the marketplace where you are, this warrior's walking, and it's almost now you're like on a side view of this road, the warrior's walking down it, and at the other end of this road, an arena stretching.
I'll give it a go. Outside the arena there was a table, circular, with a glass dome upon it.
Nothing forms.
Go on, Viconian. That's your prologue. I don't speak
Good noises,
whatever that
Bjorn, very
was.
good.
I know 9 languages, and none of them was that.
I also know many different stories, and none of them began the way you just began this one, so I'm kind of at a loss.
Just make it up as you go along, Bjorn. What happens next?
Be creative.
If anything, it kind of maybe looks like Althea.
Well, that would make sense, considering who told the story.
So, what's Althea's story?
Or a story about Althea. Make one up. Lioness.
As you're trying to say Althea, both of you, so you're saying it first, and the more you say it, it becomes garbled. So you're saying Althea, you all recognise the word, and then you try and say, yeah, make one up about her, and it's you can't quite, doesn't seem to make sense.
Full of bondulance and having a strong.
She heard of a great Viconian warrior she could never rival.
As you say that,
With a little brother.
the world around you shifts, and it's as though as you are in the centre of this arena, rows and rows and rows of crowd all around you, voices echoing out, none of them you can make out the features of, but just people all around. And at one side of the arena, there is this warrior of gold and red, and at the other side, there is this hulking warrior covered in furs and leather, holding this huge axe.
Bree's gonna kill me.
Does the warrior look anything like my sister?
That you can't make out any sort of features to it.
The anticipation in the crowd rose.
As you say that, there is this almost silence as they're all focusing, and you can kind of, it's eerie that they're all, even though you can't make out the features of these individuals, you know thousands of them are just staring down into this arena.
Is the gold and red warrior or the Viconian wearing any jewellery or trinkets that are perfectly circular?
Not what you can see.
The reaction from the table.
The table, the rim, the golden rim of it is glowing.
Do we need to finish the fight?
Finish the story.
I think so. I was never the best. I acted them out with my sister. We didn't tell them.
And
golden-
tell us how you'd act it out.
Etheria, you be the Viconian, I'll be the Golden Warrior. The Golden Warrior burst forward, swinging their sword high.
As you're saying that, the Golden Warrior starts to pace forward, just starts to reach like a sword. Did you say a weapon?
Their sword high.
The sword, yeah, sword. Yeah. It starts to reach out and is running towards the Viconian.
The Viconian, defiant in the charge, screams in her face and charges forward low with the axe held wide.
As you say this, the large Viconian starts running forward, and you all hear this echoing battle cry as the Viconian just brings the axe round, just charging forward towards this Golden Warrior.
Ducking low, the Golden Warrior slices across the thigh of the Viconian.
There is a clash as the two warriors meet. The Viconian swinging high, and the Golden Warrior slicing low, catching the Viconian.
Dropping to one knee, the Viconian clutches her thigh, but swings back with her axe, not yet beaten.
Viconian drops to a knee. The anguish, even though the features are slightly blurred, you can see there is pain. But in a defiant move, swings the axe, clips the Golden Warrior, just the chest, shoulder.
Rolling with the powerful blow in the direction of the back of the Viconian, the Golden Warrior stands from the roll and crisscrosses a slash on the flesh of the Viconian, cutting through thick fur.
As you say this, the Golden Warrior rises, rolling from the blow, slices across the Viconian, evidently taken aback by the blows.
Angered by the injuries, the blood dripping to the sand, the Viconian steps in and grabs the warrior by the throat and moves in for a headbutt.
You see the Viconian steel themselves, looking at the blood, and as the Viconian's looking at the blood, your focus shifts. Viconian's hand placed on the sand of the arena into the blood, pushing themselves up and ripping the Golden Warrior's throat and leaving in the head colliding with the Golden Warrior.
In the blink of an eye, an echo of the Golden Warrior appears behind the Viconian, stood in the same golden red armour, wielding the same short sword of the gladiatorial arenas, and as the headbutt lands, the echo places their blade through the back of the Viconian.
As you say this, the echo manifests behind the Viconian. The headbutt clashes against the first form of the Golden Warrior, and there's a wince as the blade sticks through the back of the Viconian. The blade now cutting straight through.
The Viconian spits blood. They realise they've misjudged the warrior. They squeeze, trying not to let go as their life ebbs.
The Viconian, with a defiant smile, still squeezing, gripping at the Golden Warrior's throat, as they feel themselves or their being waned slightly. Their physicality is still prominent.
The Golden Warrior leans into the chokehold. The echo still holding their blade in the back, and the Golden Warrior whispers in the ear of the dying Viconian, "I am the lioness," and puts their own sword through the chest of the Viconian.
You see it start to manifest in front of you. The Golden Warrior leading in. The whisper, even though it's a whisper, it seems loud to you all. And the crunch of the blade as it rips through the fur and the flesh of the Viconian, sinking deep into it.
The Viconian's axe drops from their other hand and clangs to the sand in the silence of the arena.
The axe drops and the Viconian's body goes limp. And you can feel the arena of bated breath.
The lioness turns, plants blade in sand, arms out to their side, and roars to match the roars of the crowd.
The arena erupts. The golden red warrior lets out this bellowing roar. Looking around the crowd, thousands of people clapping, cheering, matching the sound. The nobility, or the kind of upper class box, see an entity from a set of stairs nearby start to walk down towards the two fighting warriors. One that drops to the sand and curls forward. The golden and red warrior stood there, arms out wide to the crowd. And this, what you can only assume to be noble or somebody high up within the arena, is walking forward. No features distinct, but they're just walking towards them. The warrior of gold and red turns to them as if ready to accept something.
If it's on pause, I'll continue to narrate that they reach out in bated breath. Not their first arena show, awaiting the reward for their victory.
The warrior turns to this individual who's walked forward, this noble, this master of the arena, and holds out a hand, waiting for the reward. There is pause.
Does the reward get put around?
Nothing yet. Just holding. All you're seeing is just there holding out the hand.
The lioness takes the reward, holds it close to her chest, and salutes the master of the arena.
The hand still holding out, palm out wide. The entity before it not moving. The words that you speak cut short, takes the reward.
So do I say it takes a reward, or does it never say that bit?
You go to, you say it.
But it doesn't
you
say it.
Reward,
Yeah.
but you don't say it yet.
Yeah.
Just garbles.
Nearly.
That we're missing.
The reward is handed over.
As you say that,
Amazing.
the word reward just seems garbled.
The Viconian rises, once thought dead, and in a fit of rage swings their axe, taking the head of the master. The reward falls to the sands.
As you say this, or from where the Viconian was, a cough of blood. A hand reaches out and grabs the axe and swings wildly. The axe flying across where the golden warrior stood, ducks out the way, and the axe clean cuts the head of the master, which drops to the ground, and the body goes limp. There is bated breath once more. Your vision still focused, but there is no, as you're trying to say reward, it's just garbled.
Not a reward.
Prize? Boon? What do gladiators win? Prizes? Freedoms? Brownie points? Reputation? Pride?
All of the above, I think.
Another day to face another victory.
Yeah, glory.
Just
Never enough.
saying all of
Shouts
these
from the
things.
crowd.
As you're saying all these things, another day, freedom, pride. It's as though the story is starting to shift around you. The cheering is louder. there is a shifting in the box of where the master came from. The Viconian grabs the arm of the golden red warrior. Both raise their arms high together. And the table that is now behind you from when you were watching the story, there is a shift. You hear a churning noise as the golden trim of it starts to circle and glow. And as it shifts, it starts to rise. It's twisting. As it does so, it starts to get smaller and smaller until it is floating above the dome. This O is now floating in gold.
I'll try and take it on the assumption that I'm going to lose every magical item I've ever owned.
No.
You reach out and you touch it, and as you do touch it, there's this ripple, and it just disappears. And you are left in this arena. You look around. All of you are watching the moment when the O was touched. But now there is silence. The arena empty. There is nobody within it. There is simply the sand and the seats around it. There is almost a emptiness to the feeling here. As you look over at one end of the arena, the door where those atlases is back and formed.
I think we may be done here.
I think we're good. Well done. I
So
have no idea what to do.
Some stories need to be continued. Others need to be ended.
Maybe. Or started and ended. A finite loop.
Like an O.
Like a frickin' O. Well, that's very irritating. I'm going to go find a door. Is the door still there?
Oh, it's there. You put your hand on the doorknob, twist it, starts to open, and to everybody else, you just disappear.
Like a bloody O.
Same here. Fucking yeet.
You go.
I'll
One by
follow.
one. One by one.
Fill out. Yeah.
You all just disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And we will leave it there for this week's episode.
Wee. Oh,
Such a mind fuck.
Eddie, your brain's a weird place, buddy.
I know.
Can we not do this again?
No, it's not. It's beautiful. I love
It's a
it.
good place. You just make my brain hurt. I spent the last 20 minutes staring down at my notes going, but I don't know.
Right.
What the fuck is going on?
So that's the end of session 31. Join us next week for session 32. As you can imagine, we're not out of this fucking castle yet. So Eduardo will continue to Dungeon Master as magic in the sky. And we'll see what other fucked up shit we've got to piss around with. But yeah, it's been a beautiful Echo Knights OP as folk, even when they're not rolling dice. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for tuning in and follows and all the good stuff. See you all soon. We're on tomorrow for Fables Among Titans, session 70, something high number. Bye-bye. For now.
Ciao.
So good night, players.
Good night, players.
Nearly
Bye-bye,
forgot.
bye-bye.
Bye.